Go.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Bush. Welcome to the Bulldog Report. I'm joined by Eddie Kalecki for this exciting matchup: Metuchen Bulldogs versus Perth Amboy. So excited to get started.
Yeah, should be a fun one. Metuchen has played really well at home. Haven't dropped a home game since January 21st. Going to be an interesting showdown here as they look for their third consecutive victory.
Well, we'll see you guys in just a second. We'll be back for the tip-off for Metuchen versus Perth Amboy here in Metuchen.
Go ahead.
We're back here on the Bulldog Report. Ike Bush, Eddie Kalecki. Should be an exciting one here from the Brainy Borough Metuchen Bulldogs, 10-12 versus the Perth versus Perth Amboy 6-17. But don't let the record deceive you. 6-17 is a solid record, as they do play in a higher division than Metuchen. What are you expecting to see tonight, Eddie?
Yeah, you mentioned it. Perth Amboy is in a tough division, and they've been challenged throughout this season. So it's going to be a battle today for the 6-17 team. They're in the red division, with the likes of St. Joseph, South Brunswick, Monroe, J.P. Stevens, the list goes on and on. Those are some GMC basketball powerhouses. So this is going to be a tough game for Metuchen, but they've had the home court advantage specifically ever since they got back out on the floor recently. So this is going to be exciting with the fans in attendance to see what they can do.
Fans will be watching this one. Perth Amboy sitting at the bottom of the red division. Metuchen sitting towards the bottom of the blue. We got tip-off here, and we are underway. Xavier Silva is the man with the basketball as we start off. Metuchen's usual starters, they've got Benderly, Santis, Schiappa, Emsley, and Cone. A bunch of shots, finally more rebounds, and finally laying it in is Kevin Clemens. And finally, and to start off, Perth Amboy gets on the board. Perth Amboy holding strong on the defensive side. A wide open Liam Benderly, though, is found. And it looked like he might have walked on the way to the hoop, so it's going to go the other way. Perth Amboy with the ball and the lead, Eddie.
Yeah, that was a nice pass by by Dom Schiappa to set up that play, but unfortunately, Benderly moving the feet a little bit, the officials caught it, so a sloppy first possession for the Bulldogs.
So it's Perth Amboy's basketball. They're in the lead. Just about a minute through the game. Perth Amboy looks pretty good to start off.
Looks like a foul there.
Yeah, it seems that way. It looked like it might have been on Perth Amboy potentially. Not quite sure the call, but Perth Amboy starters, they've got Lorenzo Perez, number 1, Justin Quintero, number 3, Kevin Clemens, the guy that just got the layup, number 10, and James Garcia, number 21, and Xavier Silva, number 4.
So just an update, the stoppage looking like actually some blood on Kevin Clemens, who you mentioned got that layup. That's why the official stopped play. So a trainer attending to him at the top left corner of your screen, looks like on his right forearm or hand or something. Didn't exactly see what happened, but that's why we got the stoppage here. But I just want to mention with this Metuchen team, this is a team that's been playing very well over their last 2 games, like a couple of victories in a row outside of the GMC tournament where they lost to Sayreville. A big win against Bard, getting the season sweep against them 70-41, 42 first half points last game. So this is a team riding a lot of momentum.
Yeah, Quintero is back in play. You should get used to that name, as he is their top scorer, 344 points this year, as you see him with the ball. Coming in, open lane, the shot wide, and Quintero misses his first shot. Remains a 2-point game. Just over 6.5 minutes to go. Benderly, wide open layup, and he gets it to go. We've got a tie basketball game. I really like that pass there by Max Cone, and Liam Benderly did not hesitate to tie this game up.
Yeah, Benderly the finish. Max Cone, their leading scorer last game, 22 points, setting up the play there.
3 is no good. Emsley grabs the rebound. Bulldogs with some momentum and the basketball. There's Schiappa. He's seeing the ball for the first time tonight. See what he's able to do tonight after an awesome game last year and a historical season and career for the Metuchen Bulldog number 5. Max Cone with the possession. Schiappa. Nice play there by Dom, and he lays in 2 more.
Schiappa also 20-plus points last game, had 21 in the effort against Bard. There with the Euro step, made the nice save there and then set it up back at the top of the key for Liam Benderly, took the pass and made the play.
What looked like potentially a steal there by Cone. Looked like he might have reached in there, and it's going to be a foul on Cone, his first of the game. Well, I mentioned a lot Metuchen's foul trouble in the past few games and this season. They definitely have to make sure they're staying out of foul trouble, especially towards the end of the game. It comes back to bite them.
Yeah, you don't want to have players that have to play conservative and protective on defense because they're worried about picking up fouls. You need them to be aggressive at the end.
Look at this steal by Santos, wide open. The layup gets it to go. Ben Santos on an incredible steal and lay-in. Looked like Caleb McConnell out there. 6-2, Bulldogs up.
I like the Rutgers imagery there, Ike. But yeah, Ben Santos, we've seen a couple of takeaways from this Metuchen defense. They're reading the Perth Amboy pass as well.
Wide open in the corner. Quintero again off the mark. He's now airballed his first 2 shots of the game. 6-2. Cone on the ball. He looks to be doubled. Although it does appear it's a zone defense being played at the moment. Bounce pass by Benderly rolls out of bounds. It's going to go the other way. So I'm liking what I'm seeing from Metuchen so far. They look pretty good. The offensive side, they've been able to score 6 points. Perth Amboy just 2. They've got their best defender, Liam Benderly, guarding, statistically, Perth Amboy's best offensive player, Kevin Clemens.
Yeah, Kevin Clemens, 344 points in the season total, more than 100 more than any other player, someone Metuchen is going to have to watch out for on this Panthers offense.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And it seems like they already know about that week of study and film, and they know exactly who to put up to guard number 10. It's Liam Benderly. Coming in, the shot on a high arc. The rebound, though, is the one that falls, and it's going to be Clemens again. His 3rd and 4th point. James Garcia tried to kind of arc it in. 6-4, and it's going to go the other way. Benderly, I think, was out of bounds, so it's going to go the other way.
Yeah, a little bit of a press put on there by the Panthers defense, but before that, you mentioned the key matchup there between Benderly and Clemens, and Benderly did not box out Clemens after that high arcing shot, so got to watch out for Kevin Clemens. Not a lot of height, but definitely someone who can dominate down low.
So moving in. Bulldogs defense looking pretty calm, and that's where problems sometimes are made, as they got lucky there. The layup was missed, but it's going to be going the other way. But their defense does look a little calm. It could be good, could be bad, depending on the circumstance. Cone, a deep 3. He seems to do better on the deep 3s than just the normal 3s. Cone, what a way to start his night off. 9-4 Bulldogs.
Max Cone with Trae Young, Damian Lillard range there, all the way back near the Bulldog logo, pulled up and got that one to go. The confidence on full display. Loved the progression of this kid throughout this season.
Really impressive stuff, as you see. It was a walk there. On Perth Amboy. That was James Garcia with the walk. I want to talk a little bit more about Max, because this is a player that's really impressive, and you've seen a growth in confidence over the course of the year. Really impressed and pleased to see what I've seen with Max Cone. Lay-in by Schiappa, his first points of the night. 11-4, Bulldogs look to be the better team right now.
Yeah, everything's going well on offense, but more about Cone, of course. Has struggled early in the season, but is playing well since. And, on a team that is going to have so much roster turnover, Cone's going to be one of the mainstays returning next season. So the Bulldogs are really going to have to count on his production. He's going to step up in an even bigger role next year.
Lorenzo Perez missed the 3-point chance, and Bulldogs basketball again looked to be a walk by Dom. And it's going to be headed the other way.
See the coach there on the Perth Amboy sideline. That's Jeff Gumbs Jr. being pretty animated with his team, wanting to make sure that they stay forceful on defense and try to force Metuchen turnovers. He knows the Bulldogs have the tendency to sometimes be sloppy, and so far that time forced a turnover, but Metuchen overall offensively have played a pretty clean game so far.
Still with the ball, Perth Amboy looking to find a response to this very impressive Metuchen offense so far today. They don't get it here. They need to figure something out. Maybe it's time for a timeout at some point soon. Alec lays in the layup, and Metuchen just pouring it on, 13-4 after a huge week in terms of points last week. Metuchen looks to do more of the same this week. Sorry, not last week, just a few days ago. Wednesday was their last game. Just 2 days ago, I should say. Max Cone, 1 for 1 today shooting. It was the long 3-pointer. Schiappa from deep. And he's off the mark, grabs his own rebound. Look at his potential running through a few defenders, fouled on the way up.
Dom Schiappa staying with the play. He is aggressive. He's now, number 4 all time in scoring here at Metuchen High School. Had his big moment on Martin Luther King Day, getting into the 1,000-point club. And right there, staying with the play, getting the rebound out at the high right elbow and working it in and drawing the contact. And now another place where he's very dangerous at that free throw line. Such a great free throw shooter.
Schiappa, a player that was actually fouled 8 times in last game. And that's something that's unbelievable to me. 8 times. And that's because they were a better team. The Metuchen Bulldogs were a better team than Bard. And Bard's just had no way of slowing down Dom. And Dom, as a result, was fouled all the time. And he was just a wrecking machine in last game.
Yeah, he's a unique talent. The combination of size and speed. Not many teams have guys that can match up with him and contain him.
Well, he misses both free throws to start off the night. Dom's been a little shaky from the line recently, at least in last game against Bard. He wasn't always reliable, but that's all relative to Dom Schiappa's standards. And coming in, Kevin Clemens is going to be sent, I think, with a trip to the line for 2 shots.
Yeah, that's the second foul against Max Koenig, and you mentioned the foul trouble being costly for this team. Cone, their leading scorer last game, need him out there. We saw him hit that big 3 a couple minutes ago, so he's got to be careful now on defense. 2 early fouls in this first quarter.
Metuchen gave the bonus to Bard in their last game with 3 minutes to go in the first half, which is just not ideal at all to give bonuses in both the first half and the second half. Actually, double bonuses in the first half and the second half, so Metuchen definitely want to keep on their eye out on the fouls for tonight's game. So the first shot, no good. The second was 13-5. Clemens also had that one. And Metuchen will get 2 more. This is just a really good team in terms of, they have a lot of different types of players. But in a sense, they're all very similar players because they all have abilities to shoot, all have abilities really to drive and play some good defense. So I like the way the team is versatile, but also very similar to each other in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. Metuchen's got a lot of guys that are like small forward size, but they all can work in different ways, offensively, defensively, and they all work well with each other. This unit had so much turnover and new coach, but been a pretty successful season for a team that lost 6 of their 8 rotational players from a year ago.
Just took some time to adapt. They lost their first 3 games to open up the season, won the next, and then lost another one afterwards. Metuchen, though, has climbed back after hitting a hot streak 4 in a row in the month of January towards the end. In the corner for 3, Clemens gets it to go. Those are his 6th, 7th, and 8th points, as well as Perth Amboy's 6th, 7th, and 8th points through the three-pointer. Clemens this year from 3, he's only hit 4 three-pointers, but he gets that one to go. Schiappa was fouled. He'll get 2 shots. That was a foul on Kevin Clemens. And there he goes. His first one is good.
Looks like a substitution here for the Panthers.
So it's going to be Aaron Rambajan Jr., who was just checked in. First one good. Second one, no good. Panthers on a fast break, laying it in. Clemens
has such a quick first step, Ike, and they're on full display. Literally in the blink of an eye, got down the court, and nobody was stopping him.
It was crazy how he just dashed down the court and didn't hesitate to lay in 2 more. Really impressive job there by Clemens. For 3, there's Santis. Makes it fall. One of the most underrated shooters on the Metuchen Bulldogs squad. Ben Santis drains the 3 just before the end of the first quarter. We have 5 seconds to go. Clemens. That's his 2nd three-pointer of the night, his 6th of the year. And that'll take us to the end of the first quarter, Eddie. And it's been an awesome display from the Metuchen Bulldogs. And Perth Amboy started to really wake up towards the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, both offenses really flowing at the end. It's really between Clemens and Schiappa, that showdown. Neither defense can block off either of those guys so far, but we'll see what happens. 8 minutes down here from Metuchen. The Bulldogs on top, 19-13 against the Perth Amboy Panthers. You're watching high school boys basketball, Metuchen Bulldogs action on the Bulldog Report. Welcome back to the Bulldog Report. Second quarter of action getting underway. Eddie Kalegi with Ike Bush. The Metuchen Bulldogs playing against the Perth Amboy Panthers, looking for their third straight win, up 19-13 after one quarter. And the Bulldogs there with a mistake, a pass, and it looked like a turnover there, a travel as Lataye was trying to find Skiappa, and it'll be Perth Amboy possession. Ike, what have you liked from the Bulldogs so far?
Well, there's a lot that I've liked from the Bulldogs so far. First of all, we talked a little bit about Max Cohn's confidence. That's been really good, and when he's feeling it, Max Cohn is definitely feeling it. He made the deep three-pointer earlier, had a really nice assist. He's been good. Skiappa's been, of course, really good, and Ben Santis also had a really nice shot. So a lot of it's been a mixed bag for Metuchen. They've looked really good, though, to start off the first.
Clemens down the lane, averaging 15 points a game. Max Cohn a three. This time the deep one won't go. Nice defense, and the rebound taken in by Perth Amboy. Back the other way. Clemens dribbles to the right wing, swings it around, top of the key, moving in. Floater is not going to go home for Justin Quintero, but a turnover there, and it'll be Metuchen possession as the Bulldogs trying to hang on to this lead. Perth Amboy, after a slow start, we're down 15-5. Since then, a 10-4 run as the Bulldogs make a substitution. Marcus Malamug heads to the bench. Benderly will check back in, and Metuchen moving left to right will inbound. Ben Santis drops it off for Max Cohn. Cohn taking it up across the timeline, passes to his right to Benderly. Ben Santis, and now it's Max Cohn. Cohn back to Santis. Santis inside for Lataye. Lataye puts it up. Alex Lataye, the senior, with the basket, and Metuchen is back up by 6.
That was a really nice display of passing there by the Bulldogs, finding the open man, and Lataye was wide open for the layup.
Double team, but that's going to leave a man open, and the shot is good for Aaron Ramjan Jr. on the nice feed there from James Garcia. And Perth Amboy's back within 4. Now inside. Liam Benderly hit by a couple of players. Looks like a foul's going to be called there as Liam Benderly got hacked. We'll see who the call is against. Might be Lorenzo Perez. It's the third foul against Perth Amboy, as now Kay Emsley will check back in for the Bulldogs. And yes, it is foul number 2 against Lorenzo Perez. So each team with one player with 2 fouls. Perez for the Panthers, Cohn for the Bulldogs. Latte Lod's going to check out, and Emsley checks back in for the action. Ben Santis, starting 5, back on the floor. Ben Santis buries the jumper from the left elbow. Santis feeling it. He's got 5 points. Bulldogs back up by 6.
Ben Santis, underrated shooter, and definitely a guy that you got to keep your eyes out on. I interviewed him and the rest of the team just a few weeks ago, and I asked him what he thinks is the most valuable trait that he's got as a basketball player, and he says he does whatever he can to help his team out. He doesn't really have a main focus. He just does whatever he can, so I thought I'd highlight that for Ben Santis.
Yeah, even if the shot isn't falling, Santis, one of the younger players on this team, always seems to step up and contribute and make the most of his minutes every game, and that's a great piece, being a young player, to complement some veterans on the floor, and someone who, like Max Cohn, is going to have a massive role on this team going forwards next year. Clemens nearly stripped by Benderly, kicks it back, left wing 3, Quintero, no good. Max Cohn chases it down at the corner, gets the rebound, trapped in the coffin corner, but gets it free. Now Dom Skiappa down the lane, Euro steps slightly, treads back to the left corner. Perez in front of him, dumps it off for Benderly. Liam Benderly leaves it short, but gets fouled from behind, and Liam Benderly will head to the free throw line, and that's now 5 fouls in the half against Perth Amboy, and Benderly gets set from the charity stripe. Foul there is going to go against Wander Figueroa, the senior, his first, team's 5th. And Liam Benderly, a senior himself, at the line, and can't get the first one to fall. Metuchen now 1 of 5 from the free throw line to start the game. Getting fouls against Perth Amboy, Ike, but not really able to capitalize from the free throw line early on.
Not always, and Metuchen isn't always super reliable from the charity stripe. Liam Benderly, though, usually pretty good. He's definitely progressed as a free throw shooter over the course of the year. 16 free throw points out of his 91 total heading into this one.
Benderly buries the back end of that pair, so Metuchen now has a 7-point lead, 24-17. Decently high-scoring game, 5:45 remaining in the first half. Lorenzo Perez, quick first step, kicks it out to the right side for Rambajan Jr. Now Quintero. Rambajan Jr., corner 3, no good, off the right side of the rim. Rebound, though, and a second chance for Quintero, who will dribble it back out to the far side by the Metuchen bench. Panthers reset. Clemens dumps it off inside. The shot is good off the glass. Nice finish there from Figueroa. And back within 5 for the Panthers, 24-19. Now a steal. Full court press. Clemens puts it up, gets it to fall, plus the foul. And now a chance to make it a 2-point game. The heads-up defense leading to offense. And just yet again, Kevin Clemens, the senior forward, just bringing the pain here for the Metuchen defense.
Yeah, you see number 10 running all over the court. Looks like a madman. He does an unbelievable job. At really everything he does, he seems, through this game. He has the prime majority of all of the points for the Panthers tonight. He's looked really good. That was an awesome steal. Awesome way to draw the foul and get the points.
Clemens too strong on that attempt. Bulldogs looking for a clean possession there after a couple of sloppy ones in a row, leading by 3. May have expected a slightly bigger lead, but like we said, Perth Amboy, despite the 6-17 record, a team that plays in the toughest division in the GMC, that kind of contributes to that tough record. Benderly, errant pass, gets it over to Emsley in the left corner, around the horn, shot up, no good from about 15 feet away. Schiappa can't get the rebound. It's taken in by Figueroa. Now here comes Perth Amboy, back the other way quickly. Ramba John Jr. swings it out to Figueroa, now to the top of the key for Perez. Perez switches hands, chucks up a 3. No good off the back iron. Looking for the second chance. Loose ball taken in by Ben Santos. Nice job there by Santos to take possession. And Max Cohn will take it the other way for the Bulldogs.
That's interesting. That was Perez. That was Perez who took the 3-point shot. He couldn't get to the fall. Really one of their most reliable shooters for sure. The guard couldn't get to go that time. As you see, 2 more points. Schiappa gets it to go.
Schiappa, the turnaround jumper there from about 12 feet away. And that is a deadly shot for him. And the supreme scorer for Metuchen makes it a 5-point lead once again. Now with the ball, quick pass. That's Makai Denny into the game here for Perth Amboy. Denny's going to try from 3. Can't get that one to fall. Attempted putback is good for Wander Figueroa. Figueroa, 42 points in 7 games played this season. His 8th appearance, averaging 6 a contest. And Metuchen's lead is cut to 3 here by a Perth Amboy team that just won't go away. 3:40 remaining here in the second quarter. Max Cohn dribbles to his left, guarded tightly. Defense draped on him. Floats a lollipop pass up, but it's stolen by Figueroa. Fast break chance here. Perth Amboy the other way. Clements hit. Can't get the friendly roll, but a pair of free throws coming again here for their leading scorer.
The way he's able to just do it all on the fast break. He got fouled, and it almost looked like he was able to lay that in, but he wasn't. He got an unlucky bounce, but really I want to highlight even a little bit more about how much of a splash he makes out on the court.
So Kevin Clemens set at the free throw line. Has struggled a bit from the charity stripe, but a lot of points already in this game, and buries the first one there, and Perth Amboy, we're down 15-5, looked really deflated early in this game. Since then, have outscored Metuchen 19-11 to cut this to a 2-point game. Now a chance to make it a single-point deficit. And can't get that one to roll. 26-24 Metuchen, 3:25 remaining in the first half. Bulldogs working it up. Cody Cardillo's in for the first time. Out there with Cohn, Emsley, Schiappa, and Benderly. So all the starters out there with the exception of Ben Santos. Emsley inside. Schiappa double team. Puts up the shot. No, but a late whistle, and that's going to be another foul against Perth Amboy. So each team 1 away from the bonus. 6 fouls apiece. And that's a shooting foul. Dom Schiappa will go to the line, and that's foul number 2 against Kevin Clemens. Someone certainly Metuchen would love to see get in foul trouble here.
Definitely. And this has been a game that has very little defense. It's not necessarily at all. I would not call it a pitcher's duel or a low-scoring affair here. It's 26-24, almost at the half. Not quite even. We have 3 minutes to go until the end of the first half, and we already have 50 points up on the board. It's crazy, as well as 6 fouls per team. So it's crazy how many points and fouls per team, and it just shows the lack of defense in this one.
Schiappa hits the ladder on that pair, so Metuchen up by 3, 27-24, 3:06 remaining here in the first half. Metuchen just 8 points here since the start of the second quarter. Here's a 3-pointer, and that one's good from downtown. Makai Denny gets it to fall, and Perth Amboy, after trailing by double digits in the first quarter, have now evened the score at 27. And again, a slight press, not much, but they'll get it across. Slight pressure from Ramba John Jr. Now Cardillo loops it over to Max Cohn. Sidesteps to his left. Bounce pass left. Over to the left wing, a three-pointer. K. Emsley looking to answer, no. Benderly looking for the rebound, but it's taken away. Now the ball's loose. Dom Schiappa is going to get it back from Silva. Schiappa puts it up. The floater rattles home. Friendly bounce. And Metuchen's back up by 2. Dom Schiappa stays with the play, and the Bulldogs back out on top.
I find it interesting how Dom Schiappa, when he's on those breaks where he tries to get through the defense, just kind of crack through, he takes it to the outside of the defender rather than the inside. It was interesting there how Schiappa was closer to the out of bounds line at the end of the court rather than on the inside of the defender. An easy pave to the basket, but he still makes it work. As you see, it's a turnover, Bulldogs basketball.
Jonathan Contreras passed that one out of bounds, so it's Metuchen possession, leading by 2, looking to expand their lead a little bit here. 2 minutes remaining in the first half. Metuchen led by 10 earlier, have led by as many as 8 in this period, but Perth Amboy has been able to storm back, largely led by Kevin Clemens and a couple of timely three-pointers. Max Cohn holds it between the circles, dribbles to his left, almost trapped to the far side. Pass is tipped by Makai Denny, taken away by Perth Amboy, down the lane, puts it up, gets it to go, plus the foul.
That was a really, really nice play. And now he has the chance to give Perth Amboy the lead, a really good sense of direction and sense of, where the ball was going to go. Completely read where the pass was going to go and laid in the 2. Has a chance to make it a 3-point play.
A whopping 10 seniors on this 14-player Perth Amboy roster, so they'll have lots of turnover. Now in the bonus, shot no good, so it'll stay tied. But Makai Denny, definitely been one of the key scorers on this team, also averages 5 rebounds a game in addition to 4 points. We're tied at 29. Denny now with 5. Buck 26 remaining in the first half. Quick pass to the left side for Cardillo. Over to the corner for Emsley. Back to Cardillo. Swings it around. Deep three-pointer. Max Cohn, that's his range. Goes high off the back iron. No good. Benderly the rebound. Schiappa tries to step back. And now a whistle is blown. We'll see what the call is. Looks like it's going to be a foul against... Down low, it looks like it's going to be against Wander Figueroa. Potentially an over-the-back call there on as he was trying to get the rebound from Benderly. They called that very late because it was after Benderly had passed the ball to Schiappa, and Schiappa was lining up to shoot. And we see some conversations here. Metuchen's going to inbound. Now, I don't really understand because I thought that was the 7th team foul. Regardless... And now they're going to stop play again with 1 minute and 13 seconds to go, and they're going to say a turnover here for Metuchen as Schiappa traveled. Max Cohn's got his hands up, very confused about the officiating from the last few seconds. I'll be honest here, either I don't really know what's going on either. But regardless, Perth Amboy ball, tie game, looking for the lead, and a banked 3 from Xavier Silva, who just absolutely fired away from the top of the key. And it's now 32-29, and Metuchen trails for the first time in this game.
Metuchen definitely has to get their team in shape. Right now, they just look sloppy, and only in the worst conditions do you get a backcourt violation, as Metuchen just did. Right now, they definitely are craving probably a little bit of a break, maybe a timeout, and halftime is coming at the perfect time for Metuchen as they kind of collapsed and allowed their lead, which they did have for a really long time.
Coach James Cardillo and player Max Cohn both irate. Liam Benderly goes for the takeaway. They're I think they call that a held ball, and the possession arrow was pointed towards Perth Amboy. And another frustrating call for Metuchen, it looks like, at least initially, but it looks like they're going to actually give the Bulldogs possession and call the foul, so Metuchen will get a friendly call now, and Benderly will head to the line. But just recapping the last 30 seconds, it looked like there was an over-the-back foul against potentially Jonathan Contreras, and then instead they didn't really... It looked like they called the foul, but I thought that was the 7th foul. I guess it was the 6th. That said 6 on the scoreboard, and they inbounded it. Metuchen turned the ball over on a travel, and then a banked three-pointer to give Perth Amboy the lead. Now Benderly at the line gets a very lucky roll on the first free throw, but...
I don't think that one will end up counting as it kind of hit off the top of the net. But, yeah, it's still a 3-point Perth Amboy game. Kind of a weird sequence in the last few minutes.
So that hit actually bounced off the top of the backboard before it went down, so that's why they're going to say that doesn't count. Now another 3 from Silva, this time off the left side of the rim, no good. Trying to save it. Near collision there near the coffin corner, and it's going to stay with Perth Amboy, who will inbound baseline left. 32 seconds remaining in the first half. Looking to throw it in from underneath. Off the stack. Perth Amboy players in motion. They'll loop it out to the deep side for Ramajan Jr. Quick pass over to Makai Denny. The reserves stepping up in a big way for Perth Amboy with a lot of their starters on the bench. Turnaround for Figueroa. It's tipped out of bounds by Benderly. It'll stay with Perth Amboy with 21 seconds remaining here in the second quarter. Metuchen's been outscored 19-10 in the period, led by as many as 10 in the first quarter. Here's a quick shot, trying to get the friendly roll, no good. Another tie-up here with Emsley. This time they will say it's a jump ball, and the possession arrow is still pointed Perth Amboy's way, so the Panthers will keep it and have their third inbound from underneath of this possession with 15 seconds remaining in the half.
I wonder if they're just going to hold it for one last shot as there's just 15 seconds to go. Good coaching would allow them to do that because they don't want to give Dom Schiappa and the Metuchen Bulldogs the ball back.
They're going to shoot the three. That one's no good. Ill-advised shot there. 6 seconds. Here comes Metuchen. Driving in, and Benderly is going to draw the foul there, and that was a nice job there, penetrating right to the lane to be able to draw the contact. I believe they're going to say it's against Ramadan Jr., and Liam Benderly. It's the first against Ramadan Jr., and Liam Benderly will head to the line where he is one of 3 so far. Pretty active on this offense. Schiappa has gone pretty quiet over the last couple minutes. 1-and-1 opportunity. Can't get it to go. 2 seconds. 1 second. They'll heave from half court. Makai Denny, Ron Harper Jr.-esque shot, but unlike that Purdue game, he can't get it to fall, and that's how the first half will come to an end. With Metuchen, a disappointing second quarter now trailing, looking to avoid dropping a home game for the first time since January 21st. And we see Coach James Cardillo still enraged about that call with 1 minute and 13 seconds left and pleading his case to the officials before heading back to the locker room with the players. But strong showing this quarter, 19 points for Perth Amboy, and Ike, they've got a 32-29 lead in. Playing pretty well at this point.
Yeah, they look really good. The Panthers, towards the end of the first quarter, I could tell they were looking really good. And then the second quarter, everything broke loose. They looked really good and ended up taking the lead for the first time since they had a 2-0 lead when they started off. So Metuchen held a lead, and actually, in one case, they had a double-digit lead for most of the game until towards the end of the second quarter, Perth Amboy able to get back in that lead, 32-29. It's a lead for Perth Amboy. Metuchen kind of collapsed. That break, though, was at a good time for Metuchen as they look to improve for the second half.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Second half coming up. Ike Bush will have the play-by-play duties for you in the third and fourth quarter. Eddie Kalegi here. Great to be back at Metuchen High School for some Metuchen boys basketball. Bulldogs have won their last 5 home games, but that's in danger here after a solid second quarter from the Perth Amboy Panthers. The Bulldogs trail 32-29. We'll be back in just a few minutes here on the Bulldog Report. Go ahead.
Metuchen versus Perth Amboy on the Bulldog Report. Hello, everybody. We're back for the second half. 32-29. Perth Amboy is now the leader in this one after Metuchen had a great lead. They kind of shattered it in the second quarter, Eddie.
Yeah, they really slipped up on the defensive side, and Kevin Clemens is one thing, but they let the Perth Amboy bench really dominate them when they had their own starter five on the floor, which was surprising. We saw Makai Denny hit a couple of shots. Xavier Silva banked in a deep three-pointer. Lorenzo Perez made a couple of baskets. These aren't really people that typically dominate offensively for Perth Amboy. Usually it really just rides right through Kevin Clemens, but they were able to step up, find their shot in the second quarter. Metuchen slipped up a few times on offense, had a couple of costly turnovers, a couple of officiating calls not go their way, and in the end, they're trailing right now. So the Bulldogs are going to have to put that behind them, hopefully had a nice reset in the locker room, start feeling a little more comfortable, put the second quarter behind them, don't let those tough calls linger, and only down 3, obviously in this game, and you got that student section on your side, and the cheerleaders there too, definitely well in reach.
Yeah, I mean, that bench team, they came off the bench, and a lot of them ended up doing really well. Silva, Rambajan Jr., a bunch of guys ended up helping that team come out in front at the end of the second quarter. 32-29, Metuchen with the ball. Schiappa buries the shot. That was long, 2-point range. 32-31 is the score now. Metuchen starting off nice to the second half. Nice shot there by Schiappa. That's a 3-point chance. Off the mark again. It's been a pretty rough night for Justin Quintero. He's usually a guy that's pretty reliable, 197 points this year. Yet he hasn't really been doing too much for the team, at least tonight.
Yeah, third leading scorer on the Perth Amboy Panthers, and he hasn't really been able to find his shot, but other guys have certainly stepped up.
Schiappa essentially just hit himself a free throw that was worth 2 points as it's 33-32. Bulldogs in the lead. Good start to the second half. They continue it. Of course, Kevin Clemens been the best player so far for the Panthers. You see him wide open in the corner. They shouldn't have left him that open after hitting 2 3-pointers tonight. He's back driving in. Clemens grabs his own rebound and gets it to go.
I know there's no true center on this team, but you can't let that happen. You can't let multiple rebounds like that from the player who shot the three-pointer to charge right in and get 2 offensive rebounds. Can't afford that if you're the Metuchen defense.
Santos pump fakes, moves in a little bit, shoots, and he's off the mark just a little shy of the net. It's going the other way. Perth Amboy, though, still up in the lead by 1 for 3, and it's buried. What a shot that was. Makai Denny. He's been a very valuable asset for them. Coming off the bench, Perth Amboy now 37-33, looking good after the Denny three-pointer.
Denny averaging just under 4 points a game so far this season, doubling that here, 8 points early.
And speaking of three-pointers, you see Santos put up a 3. This one won't fall. It's going the other way. Perth Amboy fast break. Denny again open on the perimeter. He decides better of shooting. He'll still sit in the corner pretty open. And you got Emsley almost had a fast break. Denny takes it. Spin move, shot. At least a layup, which falls. A really impressive play by Denny. One of the most impressive players and performances we've seen on the Perth Amboy team tonight.
Bulldogs frustrated again. Benderly thought he got hacked as Denny spun his way in, but Metuchen needing a basket or maybe even a timeout.
There's Cohn with the quick lefty shot, which doesn't fall. It's going the other way quickly, and there's that dunk I talked about earlier. What a great play. Kevin Clemens on the fast break dunks it. I mean, what a unit he is. Clemens throws it down, 41-33. Bulldogs will have the ball, but it's a timeout by Coach Cardillo. Eddie, what are you telling your team right now if you're Coach Cardillo?
You just got to tell them to get your heads in the game. And Coach Cardillo's been getting very frustrated with the calls. And yeah, a lot of these calls have not gone Metuchen's way. That being said, you still got to play your game. You got to control what you can control. And for Metuchen, they have been very sloppy defensively. Dom Schiappa had a couple quick baskets in the first minute of this quarter. But now the offense has gone completely lifeless again. And that's the problem that we've seen. Aside from some occasions, Dom Schiappa, this offense lives and dies with him, and if he's not shooting, they can't score. And we saw after the 2 quick baskets, the Perth Amboy defense adjusted. They put Kevin Clemens defensively on Dom Schiappa, not letting him get open lanes to get mid-range shots off like he did at the beginning of the quarter. And then offensively in transition, Perth Amboy, great passing. They're able to efficiently get it down the floor. We saw Clemens with the dunk on full display. Makai Denny hitting another corner 3. Bulldogs defense has been pretty bad tonight. I mean, they're letting shooters shoot from long range, uncontested, and then down low, they're really kind of fizzling and letting the taller players on the Perth Amboy roster just get right down the lane. So Metuchen needs to score baskets, but predominantly need to make defensive adjustments here out of this timeout.
Bulldogs defense not looking too hot tonight. And a defense that's really been good throughout the course of the season. Actually allowed the least amount of points in the entire blue division of the GMC. Santis with it. Bounce pass over to Max Cone. Cone is guarded. And Santis throws it. Might have been redirected, which caused the ball to go out. That was a nice defensive play there, of course, by that was not Kevin Clemens. That was James Garcia to knock it out. Floated up to Dom Schiappa. 5 minutes to go. Schiappa puts it up over a man, and the rebound will go as Clemens. He takes it the other way. Fast break. This one's not a dunk, but still does the job. A layup. It goes in. 43-33. And they're starting to break apart from the Bulldogs now.
Perth Amboy sideline really fired up there, but defense just has to try to get in front of Clemens and at least pick up a foul and send him to the line instead of these easy baskets. He's had 3 easy finishes at the rim already in this quarter.
Santis chooses not to shoot. Said he'll go to Schiappa. Now he's wide open in the corner, but Schiappa says, I'll take it myself. And he made the right choice there. Bulldogs start to cut into that lead a little bit. Now just an 8-point lead, as it's going to be Perth Amboy basketball across the timeline. Silva with the basketball. He puts it up, and he's got it. Xavier Silva. And he's got it for a 45-35 point game. Bulldogs starting to slow down the offense as Emsley deals to Schiappa. It was knocked off of Clemens' hand, and it went in.
Schiappa with all 8 points here for Metuchen out of the halftime break. Need other guys to step up, but 2 big baskets there. But how about Xavier Silva with the touch? Second bank shot he's banged home.
And look at this. Clemens just breaks down the Bulldog defense. Unbelievable play there, as he had an open net that he set up for himself. Schiappa, as they're just trading layups at this point. As you see Emsley take the ball back after losing the rebound. He lays it in, 47-39. Bulldogs inching closer. 8-point game. And this high-scoring affair from still exciting here in the third quarter. Swatted down by Emsley. Bulldogs on the fast break. Schiappa, he's moving in behind the back pass. His second game in a row he's done that, as it's wide open. The layup doesn't go. Liam Benderly couldn't get the layup, but Dom Schiappa, how about that with the behind the back pass?
And Metuchen forcing the turnover as well. The fancy pass from Schiappa. He had the fancy finger roll finish before that. Schiappa clearly has a lot of mojo on his side, and they're going to really have to ride him. And you need Max Cone, who hit that big three-pointer in the first quarter, but has been pretty quiet ever since, to step up for this Bulldog offense.
This is absolutely the time you need Max Cone. He's definitely the guy to flip the momentum. And if he could step up in these moments, that would be huge for Metuchen. Well, they know he's not afraid of shooting from any range, as you see him guarding pretty tightly. Metuchen Bulldogs, as you see Max Cone trying to put the floater, wouldn't fall. It's getting taken the other way. Quintero on the ball. Inside, juking around. The layup is good as it kind of gets kicked around. Bulldogs with the basketball. There's a stoppage just for a second as you see Alec Latai-Lod getting checked in for Kay Emsley. Kay Emsley also started the first half. He got checked out very early into the first half. And he does the same, actually similar to the same, here in the second half.
Perth Amboy coach Jeff Gums Jr. very animated, very emphatic on the sideline, getting his team pumped up.
Metuchen, a layup chance for Schiappa. He gets the second one to go. And nice job there by the Bulldogs. Schiappa has definitely looked great out of the second half. Another 3-point won't go for Quintero. He's been a little bit of a cold streak in this one. Cone finds Schiappa. Schiappa goes back to Cone, and it's going to be a backcourt violation. As he tried to find Cone, the pass went a little wide off of Max, and it's going to be right there, just in front of us, with 1:36 to go. Panthers basketball. So Panthers ball in the attacking end. They've been great here in the second half offensively, really in the whole game, as they're close to 50 points already, and we're not even through the third quarter. For three, Quintero to get back on track, and that's something he could have used, and that's something he's able to convert on, and that expands the lead to now 11.
That was Quintero. He has struggled so much all game long. He's so happy to finally get one of those to fall. But for the Metuchen defense, yet again, leaving a three-point shooter wide open. Can't afford that. This is a Perth Amboy team that shoots the ball well.
That was a real nice play by Metuchen. Dom Schiappa gets it to go. 52-43 is the score now. Quintero again, perhaps a little too cocky on that one. He couldn't get this one to fall. And Metuchen will get the ball back just about 5 seconds after scoring via the Schiappa floater. Malamug with it, gets knocked out, and Quintero's going to take it the other way. Perth Amboy finding open space, going to slow it down with 38 seconds to go. Clemens on the pass. Quintero for three, another chance. Just another miss for Quintero. Not his night tonight, the third top scorer on the team. Been a little bit slower in tonight's game. Max Cone. Cody Cardillo. Cardillo holding the ball with 17 to go. Malamug underneath. It gets swatted away. Ben Galeota, that is, the junior who tried to put it up, ended up getting swatted away. And it's going to be Bulldogs ball from underneath with 13 ticks to go in the third quarter. At the end of the third, we'll take just a little bit of a break, and we'll be back for fourth quarter action. Dom Schiappa, bounce pass Malamug for three. Just shy. 5, 4, 3, and the layup just as time expires. Nothing more comes of the last 10 or so seconds. 52-43. We'll head into the fourth quarter. It's been a pretty tight one here. We'll see if Metuchen can pull themselves from underneath here in the fourth quarter with 8 minutes to go. Ike Bush and Eddie Kalecki will be back here for the fourth quarter. Final 8 minutes on cue here. 52-43. Bulldogs, no starters out there besides just two. They've got Cardillo, Galeota, Cone, Malamug, and Schiappa. So Cone and Schiappa, Metuchen's two most valuable offensive assets, are out there, but some bench guys out there for the Bulldogs as well. As you see Santis on the bench, you see Liam Benderly out on the bench, and Kay Emsley. They definitely need some offense, though, in these final minutes. Trailing by 9. Perth Amboy's basketball charging in. And a great layup contested. And he gets the 2 to go. And who but Kevin Clemens? He makes it fall. 7:35 to go.
Full court press here, and Metuchen's still trying to get it across before any 8-second violation. Just barely do.
It's Cone. He's doubled at the moment, which would leave a wide-open Galeota in the corner if you see him. And the bounce pass gets knocked around. It's going to be down underneath for the Bulldogs, I believe. And that was, it seemed like a foul. It was a foul on Perth Amboy. And it was a foul on Kevin Clemens, his third. 11-point game. Just 2 points total in the fourth quarter. Schiappa sets up an easier 2-point shot, but he couldn't get it to fall shy of the sweet spot with 7:11 to go. Quintero. And he hasn't gotten it to go all night. Doesn't get it to go here, but luckily the rebound, Anthony Diaz Jr. off the bench lays it in. Diaz with his 81st and 82nd points of the year. Underneath, Schiappa finger roll, gets it to fall, 56-45. Bulldogs cut it to 11. You see Kay Emsley move into the middle, and Kay Emsley might be that spark that gets the Bulldogs back within range to take the game, but they need something at this moment. For three, no good by Quintero. Maybe he's a little selfish right now. He's taking a lot of shots, and they definitely have to probably revolve the ball a little bit more around the team. As you do see, lays in two more, 58-45. Bulldogs trail. Schiappa to Malamug. Malamug hands it off to Max Cone. Bulldogs will reset. Cone. Underneath. This is a very strong Perth Amboy defense we're seeing right now. They look real good out there. As Schiappa fighting for it, saves it. Now it's Schiappa. He's moving inside. Ball comes loose. It was a travel by Dom. And it's going to be headed the other way. Schiappa does not like the call. Not in the slightest.
Fans don't seem to agree either, but it's just been a tough night here for Metuchen. And I mean, you mentioned about Quintero kind of taking some wild shots. I don't blame him because the Bulldogs defense is giving him the space repeatedly. They're doing a good job in the mid-range, but they're leaving open three-point shooters and they're letting Clemens dominate. And here another open three.
Speaking of open three-point shooters, they leave Perez wide open. He can't make it fall, though. He's 0 for 2 from three-point. Santos and the Bulldogs. It's a bounce pass, a sloppy one in that. Looked like he tried an alley-oop up to Clemens. It didn't fall. Remember, this still is high school basketball. And Metuchen's going to get the ball from their baseline.
Funniest thing of that is not just Kevin Clemens directing how he wants to see an alley-oop. The coach on the sidelines, Jeff Gumbs Jr., was pointing his finger up and like a little more straight. I think he was trying to show how a proper alley-oop happens. Almost got it, but Metuchen's defense kind of blocked that one out.
Certainly an ideal situation for an alley-oop there, but it wouldn't come at that point. 58-45. Bulldogs, a pass underneath. Emsley behind the back, flying. He looked like a bird there. Flying over Cone. Figuero fouled Cone very obviously, and Cone gets the and one. We'll see if he can make it a three-point play.
Figueroa a little shaken up and trying to walk it off a little bit. Kind of went over the top of Max Cone, and he's going to take a seat. It looks like potentially a trainer's going to head over and check on him. I mean, that's never a good sign. You never want to see someone over the top. Max Cone had that sudden stop. Figueroa couldn't stop his motion. Great move by Cone, but unfortunately, Figueroa paid the price right there.
Well, you see Denny got checked in. He's one of the key players on this team, especially off the bench. He's one of the few players that the Bulldogs haven't been able to shut down. Perez with it. Wide open in the corner, and that's been the problem. As you see, Denny misses the three-pointer. And it's going to be taken the other way for Ben Santos in an 11-point game. Emsley keeping it away from Denny. Finds the open man, Dom. And then Dom finds the wide open man. Cardillo and Cody will check in two more.
One of those intangible skills that Dom Schiappa possesses while he'll be great at Marywood College. Being able to find the open man. Knows he's a great shooter, but saw Cardillo had the better chance right there and was able to find him nice and silky smooth.
And another breakdown offensively. So Bulldogs basketball, 9-point game with 4.5 to go. A little bit of a momentum in front of the home fans now. As you see Schiappa lay it in. Speaking of momentum, look at all the fans get excited. Cheerleaders out there, some fans back in the stands. And Metuchen has cut it now to a 7-point game with the bench on their side. 4:11 to go. 5 timeouts for the visitors, Perth Amboy, and 4 for the home team Bulldogs. Slowing down the pace just to kind of settle down the offense and definitely take a bite out of Metuchen. The ball gets kicked out of bounds, it looked, by Cone, but they're going to call it the other way. Bulldogs going to get the basketball. A lot of momentum comes with that, on top of what's happened in the last few minutes, which has pretty much been a breakdown for the offense of Perth Amboy and the Panthers.
Bulldogs were due for a call to go their way. They've had some tough ones, and there it did, but now a tough turnover.
So Santos threw that right to the defender. Now you've got a wide open in the corner, but deals out. Three-pointer, chucks it up. He's got it. Anthony Diaz Jr., the senior forward and guard. He does not make a mistake there. What a three-pointer. Definitely put a dagger into that Metuchen momentum they had.
Unsung hero stepping up yet again, and that time Anthony Diaz Jr. And you never see all these banked shots going. That's the fourth time we've seen one that banged off the backboard for Perth Amboy that they got to fall. 3 of those have been three-pointers, and I mean that was really impressive right there by Diaz to have the poise to get that shot up. We've seen so many players come off that Panthers bench and step up in a big way, and unfortunately for Metuchen, they've struggled to keep pace with that. I mean, Dob Schiappa has been amazing. Metuchen's got 22 points here in the second half. 18 have been from Schiappa. He has put the team on his back in a big way as always, but we haven't seen anyone else really step up. We thought Max Cohn might have a hot hand after he hit that deep three-pointer early in the game, but has been quiet ever since. And this is someone who scored 22 points last game, so they are certainly feeling the cost of not having him stepping up in the way he did against Bard just the other day. So looking at this Bulldogs team, there's still a chance here. They had the momentum going until that Diaz 3, but that one really felt like a dagger with it being a 10-point game now, 3.5 minutes to go. Still a lot of time, but Metuchen's... Yeah, we know Metuchen can score, but their defense has to step up. They've done a slightly better job closing out on shooters over the last couple minutes. Have to force some Perth Amboy turnovers to have any chance to win this game.
Definitely a dagger there. Max Cohn definitely should start to turn it on now. Been a little bit rougher ever since his hot three-pointer, but it also comes with solid defense by the Panthers. They know what they're seeing with Max Cohn. They've been really doubling him for a lot of the night. It's got to stay with Metuchen on their side of the half. And that was a foul. The first foul on Makai Denny.
Something to notice, Ike, which Metuchen has done a good job with, not a single foul in the entire second half for the Bulldogs. So a team that you mentioned has gotten into foul trouble over these last couple games. They've been able to avert that aside from some early fouls in the first quarter.
Just going to mention that. 0 fouls here in the second half. Really impressive for the Bulldogs. Definitely slowed that down a little bit, which has definitely benefited them in that aspect. Cohn to Ben Santos. He's guarded by Denny. Schiappa looked like possibly a non-look pass. No look. Find Emsley. 61-53. Clock running out with just 3 minutes to go. Bulldogs need to find an answer. They've been looking good. Don't get me wrong, they've played a really good game, but they also are playing a pretty good team as well. Let's see if they can turn it on these last few minutes, down by 8. In the corner, Perez. And finally, Perez is able to make that three-pointer we've been waiting for. He missed 2 prior to that shot. And now it's going to be taken the other way. Perth Amboy with a boost of momentum. And off the glass, it's good. Kevin Clemens. And Metuchen, the Metuchen Gymnasium has just gone completely silent now. You can't hear anything but the ball bouncing as you see Santos with the three-pointer. That was a huge one. But it's still now just a 10-point game as they trail by quite a few.
Need a stop, and you'd think, apply the press, but this team has been so slow to guard the paint that you can't really afford to press defensively. And now we're going to see them, I guess, start fouling with 2 minutes to go to try to force free throws. You got time, but you also have to commit a lot of fouls now. And you don't want Max Cohn doing all the fouling because he does have 3 fouls already. And just 1 team foul. You got to go a ways before they actually start sending them to the free throw line. And this is also a Perth Amboy team that has shot pretty well from the charity stripe so far. So Metuchen in a tough spot just because of the timely shooting repeatedly in this game.
We'll see what ends up happening. As you said, Cohn 3 fouls. And you see Santos foul intentionally. Coach Cardillo does not like... I think he didn't like that the Bulldogs didn't foul a little bit earlier. But it's going to take a lot to get Perth Amboy to the bonus. That's their second foul of the half. They need to get 7 for the 1-and-1 opportunities. So it's gonna take a little bit. I'm assuming if I was correct in that Metuchen are starting to intentionally foul here. We'll see what ends up happening. Looks like a stack play.
Gotta watch the paint here. Watch for someone to come off the edge.
And Perez is going to pass it in. Immediate foul. And Metuchen now has an even amount. That's 25. Number 25, and of course, that's Ben Santos with his 4th foul of the night. Definitely want to stay out of foul trouble if you're Ben. So they got to have someone else foul him. I think Cody Cardillo maybe just has 1 or so. And that's exactly who they go to. And Cody will give Metuchen the 4th foul. That's his 2nd.
Cardillo and Emsley, neither of them have been very productive. I think they're going to become the designated foulers here. Don't want to see Dom in foul trouble, and the other two already are.
And it's going to be a steal. Ben Santos steps up in a big way after the intentional foul earlier. You see Kay Emsley put it up, but it's no good. It toilet bowls around, falls down, and Denny tries to take it the other way. It was a foul, though. Looked like maybe even Ben Santos. It was. That's his 5th foul. And goodbye, Ben.
That's tough. He made such a great defensive play and found Kay Emsley. He did it a perfect pass. He did that perfectly. But Kay Emsley had his back to the basket for some reason when he got to that ball. Should have repositioned himself to be facing the basket. Had to try to take a turnaround shot. Couldn't get it to fall. And now you've got Santos out of the game. Cone 1 foul away now from fouling out. And 2 easy points now gone and 10 seconds off the clock as well. But just 1 more foul necessary. Don't want Cone to be the one that's fouling, though, because obviously he has 4 fouls right now. But that was an opportunity that they unfortunately let slip away.
That's a sub that Metuchen definitely didn't want to make. As you see, Liam Benderly, obviously such a great player, but he came in for a player that's more offensively, more of an offensive player rather than a defensive specialist like Liam Benderly. And once he checked in, they kind of lost a key asset to their offense. So now, finally, the bonus. We'll see a 1-in-1 chance.
I don't know the last time that I saw a team commit 7 fouls in 20 seconds with 2 minutes left in the game, but that's the situation Metuchen kind of forced themselves into.
Yeah, that's definitely a new situation. I've never seen something like this. But I guess that's definitely something they'd rather have. 0 fouls into the last 2 minutes of the game rather than, 8 or something like that from last game. You see Schiappa, finger roll, talented. Dom Schiappa puts it in, 66-58, kind of cutting into that lead. It's just an 8-point game. Metuchen is going to go talk things over after the timeout by Perth Amboy.
And Ike, you know what they always say about basketball? The longest 2 minutes are the last 2 minutes, and I think that's what we're setting up for here. Metuchen still has 2 timeouts. We know they're going to keep trying to foul, but they are not out of this game. So they are in a good position. This is the one time also we celebrated the fact that they had no fouls. It would have been nice if they actually had picked up a couple earlier in the half because they had to waste a whole bunch of time getting a lot of intentional fouls, and the slip-up ended up leaving Ben Santos, who has arguably been their second best shooter in this game behind Schiappa, out of the game now for the stretch run. So we're going to have to see Cody Cardillo, who's had some good looks so far this season. Of course, the son of the head coach of this team, James Cardillo, in his first season. You're going to need him to step up on the offensive side as well as defensively. You also have to be smart with who's committing the fouls. And, don't have Dom Schiappa commit a foul, and try to avoid having Max Cone pick up his 5th as well, because he's usually your number 2 offensive option despite being quiet in this game.
We'll see what happens in the last minute and a half. Definitely entertaining one. Going through 2 defenders was fouled on the way. And that's going to be the Metuchen Bulldogs' 8th foul in like 30 seconds. It's unbelievable. That was a foul there on Cody Cardillo. And silently, he's now got 4 fouls. So you got to watch for Cody Cardillo, a guy that was checked in just a few minutes ago. He has 4 fouls for Metuchen as you see him checked out. Sahil Gujarati will come in. Marcus Malamud comes in. They need quick offense, and Sahil definitely is one of the guys that's able to bring that with one of the best shooting talents on the team, excuse me.
Yeah, both of these guys solid scorers and provide some fouling. And another miss, so Metuchen a chance to cut this to a 2-possession game with a lot of time still.
They're getting what they want right now. Schiappa up for 2. He's got it. Coach Cardillo going mad on the sideline. It's a foul. Perez is going to be sent to the line for a 1-in-1. Perez has picked it up a little bit in the last few minutes, and this is Metuchen's 9th foul of this half, so at the next one, they'll be guaranteed 2 shots as opposed to the 1-and-1 opportunity.
If the Bulldogs somehow come back and win this game, Mike, this is like the ultimate trolling over these last 2 minutes. I mean, 9 fouls and desperately need a free throw make here, and they get it.
So they enable the second shot. Perez will shoot a second with 1:21. They put in the guard. Quintero will come in. And Quintero, definitely a guy that's been a little bit cold tonight. We'll see what he could do defensively in these last few moments. 67-60, actually 68-60. 2 awesome shots there, and Perez made them both fall. Gudrathi, Cone! High arc, Schiappa rebounds and gets it to go. Max Cone with a wacky shot, and an awesome job. Max Cone with a Dom Schiappa with a spectacular rebound, and he gets it. It's a 6-point game, back to 2 possessions, Eddie.
Yeah, there is a serious chance here for Metuchen. What I don't understand is why is the Perth Amboy defense not doing anything to cover Dom Schiappa? Right there, he was just hanging around at the 3-point line. I mean, you've got to know that he is the focus of this team. I mean, he's averaging almost 30 points a game this season, and they let him get right to the paint. Yeah, you've got to focus on the shooter and Max Cone, but nobody kept any eye on Schiappa, and he was able to just go freely to the basket and tip that one in off the miss for Cone. And, I mean, that's a perfect play design. If you make the 3, that's great. If not, you've got Schiappa right there for the short 2 points. And, I mean, the Bulldogs are in a comfortable position right now, despite Max Cone's struggles, despite Ben Santos being out of the game, and despite having to commit 9 fouls in the last 54 seconds.
Metuchen is definitely blessed that Dom Schiappa is not really in foul trouble at the moment. Kind of strangely, he's played almost the entire game and he hasn't been in foul trouble. And it's going to be a foul on Metuchen, as expected. But it looked like they might have done it to Kevin Clemens. And you definitely don't want to foul Kevin Clemens, although he hasn't been too good at the line in tonight's game.
Now, something of note, now they're in the double bonus, so you've got guaranteed free throws now. So this is not the same situation as we would have had earlier, so now it's a little different.
Well, you see Emsley waiting to be checked in, and that shot makes it a 3-possession game. Cardillo out, Benderly out, Sahil Gudrathi in, K. Emsley in. 7-point game with 1:07 to go. 10 Metuchen fouls in about a minute or 2. That shot is no good. The second free throw was off.
Looked like a lane violation regardless on Quintero, so Metuchen ball, 1:07 to go. Now, I don't think you need a 3 at all. I wouldn't be worried about 3-pointers. I'd be working about getting it inside and getting Schiappa the best possible look.
We'll see what happens. Max Cone, obviously, reliable shooter. Hasn't been too great tonight. Schiappa fouled on the finger roll. That would have been huge. If he made that fall, I'm sure the fans would be practically running on the court for Schiappa in excitement. But he'll be taking 2 shots. These are 2 crucial foul shots now.
Yeah, he's got to focus because you mentioned Dom Schiappa has not been doing as well from the free throw line over these last couple of games and hasn't had a great game from the charity stripe tonight either. So, got to just focus in, get calm, get comfortable, get the feel on the ball, and hit them.
So the first one is up, and unlucky bounce for Dom. Now, this one is really important now because if Dom makes this one, it becomes a 2-possession game, excuse me. But if he does it, it's a 3-possession, and those are 2 extremely different stories. No. And he missed both of them. So that is definitely a dagger for Metuchen. And after a lot of subs, a lot of fouls, Metuchen looks like they're in some pretty bad shape to come back. But never say never. They just have to turn things around pretty quickly.
That's the one challenge with Schiappa, which is so frustrating because he's such a good shooter in game action. You see him hitting one-footed, double-team shots. But when it comes to the free throw line, he just doesn't seem to have that same comfort level.
Free throw, first one is missed. Fans celebrate. And out comes Benderly, in comes Cardillo. It's been interesting. There's been waves of Cardillo, Benderly versus Gudrathi, Emsley. They've just kind of been coming in and out within the last 30 seconds, depending on what they want, offense or defense. It's been pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, you also have fouls in there as a variable, too.
Definitely fouls. I would definitely note that. 70-62. Still a 3-possession game it remains. Bulldogs and Panthers go to the each respective side to talk things over with their coach. Cardillo, Coach Cardillo wants to reassemble this lineup so that they're able to generate the points down by 8 with just under a minute to go.
I mean, there's still a lot of time in this, but the tough thing is that now you see the double bonus employed for Perth Amboy. So they're guaranteed 2 free throws. It's not like earlier, which helped them get cut into this lead a little bit when it was at 12, 14 points. We saw them miss the first free throw and not get a second chance. Metuchen get down the court for a Dom Skiappa basket. We saw that twice in a row. Don't have that same luxury now. So Metuchen absolutely must score every possession. If I'm Perth Amboy, I would not be afraid to pressure Skiappa at all and try to send him to the free throw line because you know he's going to be the shooter here. Get in his face. Don't be worried about picking up a foul because he has not proven that he can hit from the free throw line tonight. And if Metuchen can't score from the line, they've got no chance here in this game.
Ref blows the whistle, which will call each team back to their respective sides. It's Bulldog basketball, down by 8. If you're just joining us, Metuchen trailing by 8 against Perth Amboy, 70-62. It's a tough one for Metuchen. They had the lead early on, kind of shattered that one in the second quarter, and the Red Division Perth Amboy Panthers had the lead with just under a minute to go. It's Cone. He's running with a little bit of urgency, not too much. Gudrathi to Cone. Emsley around the perimeter. He puts it up, and that's an air ball. Can't happen there as Malamug gets the rebound underneath, lays it in. Perfect job by Marcus Malamug. Timeout, their last of the half. It's called by James Cardillo, the head coach, with just under 43 seconds to go. So that's definitely some points they needed. It cuts it to a 2-possession game, Eddie.
Now you have some decisions to make. How aggressive do you get on defense trying to look for the steal? We saw this team get the steal with Ben Santos, but unable to capitalize on the Emsley shot about a minute ago in game time. Now you got to get aggressive, and I think it's a risk worth taking to kind of bring a couple more defenders forwards and leave the paint open, and if worse comes to worse, and if Perth Amboy scores and ends up getting the win. But you've got to try to get aggressive. We're down to 43 seconds left. It seems like the Panthers have gotten more composed from the line, and they've got some more confidence from that free throw line, and they've been able to hit recently after struggling when this whole cycle first started, when Metuchen went to the intentional foul. But 6-point game, got to be aggressive, got to try to get the steal, got to get those hands up, got to get those hands moving and quick and try to get the takeaway. You've also got the possession arrow pointed your way, so any sort of held ball would go to the Bulldogs. They have a lot of ways to be able to get the ball instead of just fouling.
Yeah, they've definitely got to pull the goalie here. They got to take that risk, and that's what they end up doing, as Malamug might have fouled Perez on the way in, and that was definitely not the plan. You see Cardillo, the head coach, hands up on his head, and he is not thrilled with that. And I expect him maybe to come out right after that. Actually, he won't. So there's that sub we've been seeing all night. At least in the last 30 seconds of game time, we've seen that.
I see the hands up for Malamug. I mean, he's like, what else am I expected to do? Because he wasn't aggressive there. That was a very soft foul call because he barely touched Perez, and now you've got one of the most confident free throw shooters on this team at the line.
And he's got it perfect. No rim involved. He's able to hit 3 free throws in a row. One of the most powerful players on the team, one of the most talented shooters on the team. He gets the first and nails the second. And now it's a 3-possession game. Just made it a lot harder for Metuchen to come back. Cone. Emsley. You see Sahil open in the corner. Don't doubt his shooting talent. As I said, look at that. Clock is flowing with under 30 to go. It's a 5-point game after the fans went nuts after the Sahil three-pointer. They foul Perez. That was a good call, though, to give the ball to Perez. So if they foul anyone, it's going to be Perez, and he's going to probably make these shots.
I don't know why Dom Schiappa backed off there. I mean, at this point, with 25 seconds left, he doesn't have any fouls. You got to be willing to try to get that steal. He let Perez get free, and even off the inbounds, they left Lorenzo Perez wide open. Yeah, you were excited that Sahil Gujrathi made that shot. That was a clutch bucket, but you can't let Perez get the ball because he has been unconscious from the line.
And that is perfect. So now adding supreme pressure to the Bulldogs. And this one goes in. It'll be near impossible to come back. It will be a three-possession game, and it does.
Automatic.
He's just so good from the line, especially in the second half. He's looked so good. Cone needs to chuck something up here, or at least Metuchen does. It's a three-possession game.
12 seconds, you got to move.
Yeah, they've got to put something up. Down by 3 possessions, just dealing the ball around. And this is a major problem. They got to shoot it. Schiappa puts it up. No good. Emsley's got it, and that's it. 74-69. Metuchen falls just shy of the Panthers. Poor foul decisions in the last few minutes, and it was a good game, well fought by the Bulldogs. A tough one. They go down to 10-13. Eddie, what did you like? What did you dislike about Metuchen in this one?
I mean, I liked how the offense was able to get rolling at the end. We saw some guys step up. Malama, Gujrathi, Emsley, Santos, all had been quiet earlier, so the load wasn't completely on Schiappa. And I mean, they did put up 69 points in this game. A solid game. They were able to keep it close. But this team really let it slip away in the second quarter. When Perth Amboy brought in their reserves, Ramadan Jr., for example, and Diaz, and Makai Denny, they were able to step up off that bench and hit some clutch shots. Metuchen did not cover off three-pointers well. And then, of course, Kevin Clemens, impossible to stop. We saw him capitalizing at the very end. Lorenzo Perez made 6 key free throws in a row in the final 2 minutes. But not a big fan of how Metuchen handled those last 2 minutes of game action. I mean, you knew you had to foul. You hadn't committed any fouls. It was going to be a tough uphill battle. But specifically that last possession, 21 seconds left, you have to get a shot up quickly. And we saw this team passing it around, not really trying to get open. You've got to shoot. You've got to take that risk. You can't hold on to the ball for 15 seconds when you're down 7 with 20 seconds to go. Not really happy with how the offense figured that out, but it's a learning experience, and there's a lot of young guys on this team that'll be back next season and still have a couple games left on the horizon this year, including some state tournament game, I believe, on Monday. So, learning experience. Tough to see their home winning streak come to an end, but like you said, Perth Amboy in the best division in the GMC. It's always going to be a tough battle, and congrats to the Panthers on a win in what was a really fun game to watch.
Haven't lost since the 21st of January at home. That's the last home game they were able. They just came shy. But, you know, Metuchen played their hearts out tonight. It kind of came down to the last few minutes, as you said. So that just about wraps it up. Eddie, thank you so much for joining us from Rutgers University. And that's just about it from the Bulldog Report. Thanks for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the Bulldog Report's YouTube. And we'll be back for tomorrow's game. Metuchen, can't wait to be on the call for that one. Should have Henry Sia by my side. So that's it. Bulldog Report, Ike Bush, Henry, and Eddie Kalecki, and we're signing off.